With the G Pro Superlight, Logitech pulled an Apple-like move on us, releasing basically the same product but changing just enough to call it a different name. And like with Apple, it seems that they've hit a jackpot when it comes to demand, because it took me 1 month to get this product delivered to my door. But the true question is the G Pro Superlight worth your money and your attention? Let's find out. How's it going, everyone? I'm Lazerk, and I need to be completely honest with you. I was very skeptical about this mouse. I mean, I read the reviews, I watched some YouTube videos, and the praise that the mouse was getting was a bit exaggerated in my opinion. The G Pro Superlight is almost an exact copy of the G Pro Vanilla, the mouse that basically began the wireless gaming mouse era. Almost an exact copy, because in the new version you don't get support for ambidextrous use. So sorry left-handed guys, you will need to look for something else, because Logitech decided to cut out the right side buttons from the mouse to reduce the weight even further. So if you're a left-handed user, you should look for something else. For example, the Razer Viper Ultimate still supports both left and right-handed players. The only sign that the mouse was ambidextrous is a slight hump on the side of the mouse, completely covered by the mouse chassis. Honestly, I don't know why Logitech decided to leave it there, but maybe it will be more comfortable to rest your fingers with the hump present, or maybe they just didn't want to take away too much from the original shape to keep everyone familiar with it. Only they know. But overall the mouse is very comfortable to hold, although it can get slippery after prolonged gaming sessions, mainly because it doesn't have any rubberized surface for a firmer grip, like for example the Viper does. The good news, however, is that Logitech decided to include rubber tape for sides and buttons. It should improve your grip over the mouse, but honestly it takes away from the clean aesthetics of the mouse that I've decided to not use it. The G Pro Superlight will also disappoint all RGB maniacs, because apart from a single LED that indicates the battery level or where the mouse is waking up, you will not find any RGB accent whatsoever. Not at the bottom, not at the back, and the only thing, the diode is right here. The green diode you see is the only RGB you get with this mouse. And in my opinion, the decision is good, because Logitech was able to keep the chassis integrity intact and was able to reduce the mouse weight to a astonishingly low 63 grams. If you decide to take out the puck that's on the bottom over here, you can reduce the weight by another 2-3 grams. So it goes below 60 grams without cutting any holes in it, without sacrificing the integrity of the chassis of the mouse, of the case of the mouse, which is a pretty good engineering feat, I would say. And even though I don't mind the cutouts in the mouse or in the case of the mouse, I still think this is a better solution. For me, at least personally. It's just much more comfortable to use. It looks also, in my opinion, much better without the holes in it, and it feels great. I mean, it's very solid. You don't have any creak. The plastic, when you press it, doesn't give in. So it's a very nice touch from Logitech, and I think they put a lot of effort into it to reduce the weight and still keep the chassis intact. The build quality was always Logitech's one of strong sides. Whenever I had the Logitech mouse, I usually had to replace it because it aged so much that it wasn't viable anymore. Like with my previous model, the G9X, it still works perfectly fine. It's just very old and not really up with the newest gaming mice when it comes to weight, when it comes to sensor sensitivity and so on. So we see similar features with this mouse. This mouse has no wobble, the buttons are very stiff, very responsive, there is almost no pre-travel and very little post-travel when it comes to clicking and so on. There is no scroll scratchiness like I had with the Viper Ultimate, and the side buttons are also very responsive. There is some pre-travel here, but it's very minor. So all of you wanting like the best experience out of your mouse when it comes to build quality, so far I can recommend this mouse, because there is nothing really here that bothers me. By the way, we don't know if the double click issue that was plaguing the G Pro Wireless before, the original G Pro Wireless, is here. I think it will require a couple more weeks and months of testing, but I believe they've changed the switches inside, so this shouldn't be an issue anymore. While we're talking about switches, let's see how they sound. Battery time is rated at 70 hours, which is pretty standard performance at this point. Since the mouse has no RGB, the battery drainage has been reduced to minimum when compared to the previous model. It gives you 10 more hours when comparing non-RGB battery usage between models and 22 more hours if you would have RGB on the G Pro Wireless. I have been using this mouse for 2 weeks, playing for 2-3 hours daily and doing some productive work with it, and I had to charge it only once, which more or less confirms the rated battery time. Included cable is mini USB, like mentioned before, with a proprietary connector, which holds the cable in place and allows you to more easily connect it to your device. I usually just leave the mouse on charge overnight whenever it's running low on power, and I'm done for the next 2-3 weeks. When it comes to wireless performance, I think enough has been said in terms of G Pro Wireless. It's really good, causes no disconnects or lags. It's basically the same as using the mouse on cable, but we are already used to that. I mean, all the top tier devices offer great wireless performance, and so does the G Pro Superlight. Personally, I connect my USB connector at the front of my case because there is no interference there, but if you have any issues, there is an included USB dongle which serves as an extender if you need to boost your signal level. There isn't much else to say about the build of the mouse, as like I said before, it's basically the same as G Pro Wireless with the same shape, slightly higher top than the Modulo Wireless or Viper Ultimate. The mouse is still good for all types of grips depending on your hand size obviously, so before buying I strongly suggest testing it out. Finally, the price. This is a bit of a controversial topic. On one hand, this is just a refresh of the G Pro Wireless without any major changes and following the "if it ain't broke it don't fix it" philosophy. On the other hand, one of the best gaming mice out there became even better with lower weight. And I think that's the main reason why Logitech decided to charge $150 for it. Steep price, maybe even very steep. Even more so since the mouse still uses micro USB cable and has no charging dock nor any differentiating features. Is it worth it? Well, I would love to hear your thoughts about it, so let me know in the comments below. One thing I really appreciate that Logitech did and took their time to master is the time to wake the mouse up. I mean, it's instant, there is absolutely no delay, which isn't the case for the other mice, because for example the Razer Viper Ultimate takes about half a second before it wakes up, so you have this single moment where the cursor is not responding and it just, snaps back after half a second and works fine. And with the Modulo Wireless there was some different issues where the mouse, for example, randomly changed the sensitivity or the RGB settings. I don't know whether it was just my model or maybe you experienced something similar. With the G Pro Wireless we don't have such issues, you just barely touch the mouse and it's ready to go, and it's really nice to have. When it comes to software, for this mouse it's basically mandatory. Why? Well, since Logitech decided to get rid of all non-essential features of the mouse like RGB, they also decided to cut any physical DPI controller to reduce the weight even further. As a result, the only way to change the DPI and other settings is by using G-Hub software. I'm not really a fan of running multiple proprietary software hubs in the background, so it is a bit of a bummer for me, but I guess you can just load the preferred settings onto your mouse and forget about it. When it comes to software itself, it's fine. I wouldn't say it's super intuitive because there is quite a few settings to choose from, and if you're new and just jumping into it, it can sometimes feel a bit overwhelming. Give it a try or two and the feeling goes away, leaving you with a rather flexible system that allows you to record macros, assign different functions to different buttons, and so on. It's something that's quite common among other mice manufacturers, so Logitech isn't original in that matter. Now let's talk about the mouse performance in games and how to put it not to sound like a fanboy. It's amazing. I don't know whether it's my muscle memory, which has been used to the Logitech G9X, a mouse that represents similar philosophy when it comes to design like the new flagship model from Logitech, or whether the shape of the mouse is so universal that you can just pick it up and slay instantly. Either way, I experienced no harsh transition period from using the Modulo Wireless for over a month to using Superlight. I was very consistent with my aim and performance from day one. And since the mouse is a bit lighter than the Modulo, those flicks and tracking became even easier to make. Of course, don't get me wrong, this mouse won't make shroud out of you, it's just a tool that you need to learn and master. Of course, it all boils down to your preferred shape. The Superlight is slightly taller on the top than other ambidextrous mice, talking about Viper and Modulo specifically. So it might turn out that this shape isn't for you. My hand size and the way of gripping the mouse allows me to easily switch between different models without noticeable impact in performance, but I must admit I feel more comfortable using this mouse over the other two. At this point you probably know what I'm going to say about this mouse, and it comes a bit of a surprise even for me because I was sure that the reviews I saw on YouTube were exaggerated, but they're not. This is a really great product and Logitech really delivered, even though they haven't changed much. But since the original G Pro Wireless was a really good product, really well received by the players, and I think it was one of the most common choices when it comes to wireless mice, Logitech did a really good decision not to overhaul everything, but just tweak it just enough so the mouse is really competitive and can keep up with the likes of Model O Wireless or Razer Viper Ultimate. The short summary is like this. If you like the G Pro Wireless, the original one, you will love the Superlight. Everything about it is just better. The shape is the same, of course. You don't have the second button here, which is a bummer for some, but the weight reduction, the larger gliders here, and the slightly different scroll wheel are a great change and right direction for Logitech to go into. This mouse is almost ready for 2021. I'm looking at you, Mini USB. Even though Logitech decided to go the easy way and just ripped out everything that doesn't impact performance in this mouse, I still think that's a good choice. We're not sacrificing the chassis integrity here, and for everyone who absolutely despises cutouts in their mouse, this is a great choice. I mean, it's a great choice for everyone. If you already have the G Pro Wireless, or if you have a Viper Ultimate or Model O Wireless, changing to this device will probably not affect the way you play. But if you're looking for something new right now, this is definitely a good mouse to consider, if the price is acceptable for you. Alright, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, consider subscribing to the channel for more content like this. I'm Laser, thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon.